good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Is it going to be a one and done kind of day? Let's see.
We've been saying that every day for the last 3 days, and we've not gotten it.
I know. I'd really
But
like
I
it.
will say, just today, um, I, I, I mean, this is already my technically my third trade on the session. Although the one yesterday was break even, one was a small profit, and then this is another small profit. I've already taken three, and it's pretty early into
Mm,
the session, plus Friday, which kind of automatically activates profit protection mode for me. So yeah, I'm gonna be very careful about putting anything else on after this.
yeah, we'll have to see. I think you're in lower from me. Let's bring in a chart here. So obviously we've had the CPI print this morning. I guess that was positive. I don't know. Um,
Who knows?
yeah, who knows? I think they manipulate it and make it up anyway. But um, So yeah, let's talk through. I mean, last night was pretty active. I had a couple of trades in last night as well. One a stop because I didn't use the full structural stop, naughty boy, and then took a second stab at that. Was able to get a decent level to level move out of that, but runners trailed out, which ate a lot of the profit of it. So yeah, I'm marginally red on that evening session, and then I've had a decent trade this morning with that CPI print. So yeah, with that, obviously last night we're talking about kind of two levels. 68, 60 was the level I was engaging, and then I engaged that kind of twice. Stopped out on the first, good on the second. Let me kill this background music. And then what did you do? Did you do 60 and then you took a stab at the Friday's low at 42?
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
60, which stopped out break even for me.
Okay.
And then I so that I had my limit order there for 70, the first level up, like exactly.
Mm,
Because it was the evening session, I was actually not on my desk because I was busy working out. So I wasn't able to micromanage that as much. So apparently we hit 69 in reverse. So of course it came 1 point shy of my target. So
yeah.
I just ended up doing a scratching out for break even because it activated my rule of being up 6 to 7 points and then not getting a trim. So whenever that happens, I don't like to cut for a full loss. I just cut it a point or two under break even. So that's kind of what I did on that. And then the 42, I did take an AP, and that I got a trim out of. I didn't get a second trim out of that though.
Oh, you didn't? So 42.
No.
Yeah, entry around 47, 48, 49, something like that.
Yep,
That
49
ran up
entry,
to.
and then it didn't. My second trim was supposed to be 64, which we didn't get.
Yeah, came
Yeah.
another point shy.
Yeah,
Bummer.
that's unfortunately just how it was
Yeah,
last
yeah.
night. I mean, again, I those are probably one of those things where if you're being a little bit more active in terms of managing it, you should probably cut them. But just because it was the evening and I wasn't really on my desk, I was kind of again, I was out and about. I didn't. Those are kind of times where I end up setting limits where I can't watch it too minutely, and they just never hit. So yeah.
Yeah, I tend to exit with limits and enter with market. And I was actually debating that this morning. Maybe I should have entered with a limit order this morning, just above. I was trading the 42 level, I think after you. So maybe we'll just touch on how you traded. You did the old wake up, look at the phone, and enter strategy, right?
Yep. The old Adam.
Never
Yeah.
fails.
I mean, it looked like it was gonna fail. I bought it and like immediately, like I looking 15 minutes later and it's like down 12 points, and I'm like, oh great, this is testing the stop. But then they did a good job of bidding that back test.
Mm-hmm.
And we bid the back test and kind of went above. Now normally when I see something like that, I would add to my position there. because I'm getting more confirmation on my entry, and I would probably add a little bit on a back test push. But in this case, I didn't because one, we had CPI coming up in the next few minutes, so I didn't want to have my too much risk on because I had a feeling that I might have to hold this through CPI. I didn't know if we'd be able to get a trim in before. So because of that, I was like, I don't want to add any additional risk to this. So I just kind of kept it on the table. I ended up having a 33 entry, and but then I ended up being able to get out at like 48, close to 50 major. So that was actually pretty good.
Mm, nice. Yeah, I woke up, kind of looked at that. I mean, I've been getting a bit lazy. Um, it just looked all a bit of a mess to me by the time I looked at it. And then with CPI ahead, what I did like was the 42 level, which actually just dotted, which was actually ended up being the prior day's low, and then obviously we put in a second low in the evening session around 7:45 last night. So a cluster of a couple of lows that then failed, came resistance in here, chopped around a little bit, support in here, and then resistance again. So this final piece here, the acceptance that was going on, probably while you were all in your trade, chomping on that drawdown. But I like these swings up to it, down, up to it, down, and then the final push up with the impulsive move. It does mean my runner is a little bit higher, so by the time I got in after the CPI print, I'm in at like 46. So I'm right at sitting at break even on my 10% runner now, which yeah, is a little bit of a tricky spot. I'm not sure I really want to hold that to below 20 because that'll chew 80% of the profit on that one. So I may have to take a trim, if we do start collapsing, I just have to cut that to protect a lot of those greens. As far as trades today, then let's talk about the plan. So for anyone who's flat, I think we got one above and one below that are the obvious ones. We've had some pretty decent acceptance of 68.60 so far. So that's if we switch down to a lower time frame. So if we push up off the open here and are able to impulse through that, but we've had a couple of nice swings here. This is now a 5-minute time frame. Obviously we pushed through it on CPI and overran it a little bit, but we then dipped back to about 46, came back, tested it, dipped to 42, held that level, come back, and then we've just been bouncing between 42 and 60 since CPI basically. But if we're able to lift up here with momentum, then the reclaim of 68.60 is a potential. I think Adams called that out in one of his tweets. What did he say? Yeah, 68.60 must clear now to see 68.70. So that's one option. Obviously, it's above where we are, so it's lower quality. It's going to be a bit more tricky, potentially a bit more trappy. We could push up, see another dip, and move through. So that's one option, and then beneath there, I think is 68.20 is the only level, or the first level beneath there that I would have any interest in. This is a pretty important level going back to January 20th, Tuesday, January 20th, and Wednesday, the lows set there, and then it was also really the kind of the lift out off point from the last week's Thursday evening failed breakdown, pretty major failed breakdown there. So it's been a pretty major level. Obviously, you can see we've held it here, but if we were to flush and recover that, that would be of interest to me. And then beneath that, I think Adam's calling out 67.95 as a level he really likes. So I'll watch that as well. So yeah, just pretend you're not in a position. What are your thoughts for a trade plan for today?
The 68.60 above us is actually a pretty good reclaim at this point. It's a good level, and we've had some pretty good acceptance of it. So that's actually not a bad. That's one of those. Again, I'm not a big fan of taking too many reclaims, but that is actually one that would have my interest if I was eyeing for it. The 6820 failed breakdown is the obvious setup now in terms of it being a failed breakdown setup being the best one on the way down. And if we end up selling more than that, then we have a couple of failed breakdowns even lower. Um, we have the 6782. We also have the 6751. So, both of those would be, some macro failed breakdowns. Obviously, keep in mind with those macro ones, kind of, we had a bunch last week, but they can be a little fuzzier. So you maybe even want to be a bit more patient on those. But those are definitely high quality if we end up getting them. So we'll see. That obviously will require a 100-point sell, but if we get it later today, I would definitely be a bit interested. As always, it is Friday though, and so I do always like to preach Friday profit protection of the week. If you've had a green week this week and it's been a good week, which I would anticipate a lot of you guys, and it seems like just from talking to everyone, it seems like everyone's gonna be at a pretty good spot this week. It seems like there weren't too many tricks thrown out this week as compared to the last few weeks. So it seems like, if you are green for the week, then just risk a portion of the profits, or if you're really happy with the profits, there's no need to trade at all. So usually what I do, I usually have a general rule, but depending on how many profits I make by the time it's Friday morning, I'll just pick a certain percentage and just risk that. So, maybe for me 1 week it'll be like I'll risk 25% of my weekly profits, maybe 20%, whatever that number may be. For me, I came into today willing to do 20%. So that was the max I was willing to kind of put up. And now I've already taken a few trades. So I will definitely be in profit protection of profit protection. So, hopefully don't have to trade, but if you are looking for something, I think those are the best spots I'd be looking for.
Sounds good. Okay, we got the open here in a couple of minutes, so let's see what happens. Watch for 60 above, 20 below, and then 95. And I don't actually have the lower levels on there for the macros, but yeah, we'll catch you guys in the Discord. Anyone wants to hang out and chat, let us know. Always up for that. All right, see you later. Thanks everyone. Bye.